coming to get these old pretties fixed. Nervous as hell.
It's gonna look so good. I'm so excited.
I trust Dr. A. Dentist is all pain. Don't let the kids watch it. Oh, we gotta go. I was gonna head out.
Oh, yes. Good morning. Look at everybody's pretty smiles on the wall.
Man, they ain't even smiling. He was scared like me.
Pleasure P look distressed.
He look worried. I think we're doing 10 across the top. You gotta shave them down and put the veneers on top so I get the little laughing gas. And then they numb everything, but I'm not gonna feel nothing, but get out my mouth. Nobody be in your mouth.
I never thought I'd see the day.
Good luck today.
Thank you.
Good time has come. I had to drag him out of bed this morning. He was this close to being like, am I sure?
I was about to go fishing.
I'm sure.
Well, thank God that she dragged you in here.
Yeah, no.
And they got the nerve to say we weren't with them shooting in the gym.
Right.
You ready to get started?
Yeah.
It should be a really smooth procedure. You're not going to feel anything. You're going to be completely numb. You, in 2 weeks, are going to be brand new Channing.
Just gonna numb you first.
Okay. It's not my cup of tea. See what we do for y'all? We love you guys, okay? Just understand that. You know how people can like the dentist. When you ignore your teeth for 30 years, then you get a long process. Man, I seen them on the internet. They strap around the back of your head. Never mind, it's too nasty.
So I want you to see something, Channing. Can you take off the Gucci glasses real quick? If you were to have not come today, and this keeps wearing, you would be at your nerve chambers. So we've already broken through the enamel. Now we're talking about nerve damage. This is not cosmetic. This is medical. You ready?
Yep. Is that laughing gas or is something else?
It's supposed to be laughing gas, but a lot of people say it feel like they be drinking.
You getting a little tipsy yet or not yet?
Yeah, I can start feeling it now.
Yeah?
I see y'all on the other side. I'ma trust Doc.
I got you. Don't worry.
Hold up, limitless. Niggas to me, can't pin in it. I fought the here to witness it. Get my people feeling militant. Way I'm feeling, get me up. On the mission, get me up. Knowing me, I got the key. Only vision I can trust. Trust, limitless. Niggas to me, can't pin in it. I fought the here to witness it. Get my people feeling militant. Way I'm feeling, get me up. On the mission, get me up.
Hey y'all, welcome to The Pivot. We got a little different thing. You know, one thing we want to do with our show is expand. We want to go beyond athletics. We want to go beyond the norm of what they see us as and bring in different people that can provide different perspective. Obviously, we got Freddie T, we got Channing Crowder, and I'm gonna say this really slow. Dr. Amira Ogunleye. From the rest of the time, she's just Dr. A.
We gotta get you.
That's it.
That is impressive.
And I think, and she's already become bigger than her practice, bigger than just, allowing people to be happy about their smiles, because she's gonna do something that no one has ever attempted to do before. She's gonna fix Channing's teeth. And, I'm sure Dr. A has accomplished many things in life. We'll get to her.
So she's won awards, RC. Like my teeth are bigger than an award.
So what I'm trying to say is, this is going to add to her humanitarian side, right? This is going to go into her activism. So like if you go to her bio, it's going to have she's worked with the D Wades and the LeBrons and so, and then it's going to say away from the office. And it's going to be all the activism, all the community work she did, and then in bold letters with one of them asterisks, it's going to say, fix Channing's teeth, right? And
Doc, is it that bad? I went recently. I had to open up my mouth, and y'all didn't even see the molars now, because molars are gone.
You said you ain't been a dentist in 6 years, too.
I don't go to the dentist. Dentist scare me. I get root canals and never go back. Doc,
this is perfect timing.
Doc, is it that bad, Doc?
It's not that bad. But we make miracles happen. So even if it was that bad, which is not that bad.
Is that your slogan or something? That's your slogan?
No, actually it's not. It's not my slogan. My slogan is about porcelain magic, but get ready for a brand new Channing.
The thing that you're missing is, I didn't sign up for that. I didn't sign up for a brand new Channing. The Channing I signed up for made us all look better when he smiled. The Channing,
you seem a little jealous.
The Channing I signed up for allowed us to have these jokes. And so are you gonna do like a really good job? Is Channing gonna come back an entirely new person with this? Or can we keep a little bit of the guy we've grown to know and love?
No. He's gonna be brand new. I mean, that's how people do. They get their teeth done, and I literally ask this question almost to every person in my chair. I'm always like, are you married? Are you dating? And they're probably like, why is she asking this question? The reason I ask that question, and they're like, it's funny when the guys are like, I mean, something like that. You know how you guys do. And I'm like, okay, I want to ask because I don't want you to get brand new with who you're with, because everybody, their whole vibe just changes. It's like, it's amazing how much a smile like affects people. Like, honestly. There was a guy who came in. He's actually an ex-NFL player. He flew in, and he was with his wife, and she encouraged him to do his teeth. And he came in, just like Channing.
Asia paying for all this. Dr. Hayden, no, Asia paying for everything, because I'm riding this thing. I done rolled these out for 38 years, Coach.
But it's deeper than that, and she'll get into it.
Yeah.
It's deeper than just the cosmetic side of it.
Yeah.
It is deeper, but Asia did reach out to me and say she wanted to do this as a gift for Channing. She did say that. But this particular wife brought him in, and I remember looking at him and not thinking anything of him either way, not having an opinion per se. And then we fixed his teeth. I mean, they were really in really severe condition. We fixed his teeth, and to date, this is probably like my best case. When he came back for like a recall appointment, his whole swag, the way he walked in, and I was literally like, oh, well, who is that? Like, wow, And his wife, this is so funny. His wife was like, I really wish I would have never ever told you to fix his teeth, because this man takes selfies on the phone. He's walking around brand new. So it does happen. It's probably gonna happen.
Did y'all ever watch that show, The Swan, back in the day? I'm a TV junkie.
Black Swan?
No, it was called The Swan. And what would happen was they take these people that were like twos or ones, right? And then they
Listen, don't even start that way, because we talking about me, mother. Don't start talking about no twos and no ones. I'm a strong 7 now.
Okay, that's fine.
Not 7.
I'm a strong 7.
Strong,
So with
bro.
the new teeth,
I'm a
you're gonna be a
7.8.
9?
That's what Ryan's scared of.
Channing,
when I get into this 9,
Channing, your personality, bro. Your personality.
And you got a pink bottle.
Yeah, your personality.
The pink bottle.
Totally
I get
takes
into
you
this
with it.
9.
I was trying to get to a point, Channing.
my bad.
You're going to be a 9, bro, and I'm going to be so happy for you.
Yeah.
It's going to bring up the attractiveness level of our show so much because you bring it down so far. And so, like, these people would go, and they'd be like 1s and 2s, right? But we all know the way the world normally works, that if, like, you're a 1 or a 2, your significant other usually is 2.
Yeah.
And so they bring them off, and they'd get, like, all this other stuff. Like, they get liposuction, they'd get their teeth fixed, they get plastic surgery, and then they'd walk them back out on stage in front of like their family that's from like, Bumfluff, Arkansas, and they would be 10s. I'm talking about freaking 10s. And then every time they would revisit with the people after they got their makeover, the people were miserable. A lot of their relationships failed because you got to remember that person is still a 2 that you were with. No, for real. And now they people acting brand new like you say, Doc.
But here's the thing. This is big. You gotta be set in your relationship, because you can't build a kingdom with someone who still craves attention from who?
Everybody else.
Yes.
There you go. That's big. So people who come in who are solid in their relationship, this should just enhance you. You should feel positive about who you are, secure, confident, and that should only strengthen what you have. But unfortunately, and this is deeper than smiling, but unfortunately, there's too many people who still crave that attention from outside. So yes, when they get their teeth fixed, they get the lipo, they get all these things, it's like they forget the center, they forget the core or the soul. So, I mean, it's like this. My career is really like this, because in one breath, you're changing people's life for the good, but there is always gonna be a superficial element to what you're doing, and that's just real talk.
Yeah. And your story, we're gonna get into that. Your story and what it is, and saying, you're my dentist, so we know each other. But I just gotta ask, when I get these veneers, when I really fix my mouth, right? is like, I'm scared that I'm gonna see the bite marks on Asia's butt and think that she's cheating on me because I'm used to my own bite marks.
It is dull. Your bite marks
So
dull,
when I see
right.
these perfect bite marks, I'm gonna be like, who the hell bit your booty? Because you know me and Asia go after it. Like, so do you have could you have any counselors that can help me with that, like the transition?
You know, there's forensic psychology, dental forensics, who literally can find a killer by the bite marks because of their dental records.
Yeah,
This is true.
If I ever killed Asia, go on her butt. you know they right there.
So, Doc, you mentioned forensics. He's talking about bite marks on the butt. You know, I heard a story, and I don't know how true it is. You know, they call me Freaky Fred on this show. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I don't know why. But listen, we're not getting into that.
Yeah.
The story that I heard was a dentist can tell if a woman or a person has had oral sex before their visit. Is that true?
That is accurate.
That is absolutely disgusting.
How?
So, there are tiny blood vessels in the soft palate, which is the
Where
very
the soft palate at? Like way
the very way back. And so in the event that there is a lot of force or action at the soft palate, the small blood vessels will have bursted and we will see the striations in the back of their mouth. Yes, we know what y'all been doing last night.
So are you ever like, oh, you got it in?
No.
Yeah, we
You know what I'm saying?
done created some skyvations.
Yeah, you know, hey, like, you ever go in, she's like, oh, girl.
Right. But
I mean, I definitely, notice, and I might like tap my assistant, like, you move the light a little bit further back, but no, I don't, that's their business. I don't
good
say
thing for HIPAA, right?
I don't say anything.
Like, we started this way off base,
Way
obviously.
off. Way off.
But it was cool because you got to kind of tell stories about, some of the type of successful people you've had opportunities to work with. But you're from Egypt originally, if I'm correct. And
Yeah.
you came over here, I think you were 2 years old, but you were with a single father.
Yes.
And it was 3 of you guys?
Yeah.
What was that like? Can you even remember it, though, from those times?
Yeah, I think that anyone who's been through real struggle, that's not something you forget. I came here with a single father. We didn't have anything. He worked 2 jobs. I remember him working at Popeyes. We went school shopping at Goodwill. That was normal for us. And my dad just was so big on work ethic and working hard, so you don't struggle. So that is not something that I think I'll ever forget. There were times my older brother who passed away, rest his soul, we would sleep on a back porch. It had netting. And if it rained, I have memories of him, putting me on the inside so that I didn't feel the rain. And so I think that when people see success, right? They see a person and they think, oh, I've had people put comments and stuff and say, oh, you don't know what this is that, because they see where you're at now, right? No one knows the behind the scenes struggles, what people have gone through, what is motivating them, what is their purpose. So that's not who I'm ever gonna forget, that little girl, because she's still in me, and that's why I go so hard.
Through your struggle, through your grind to become what you are, like, how hard is that to be a black and to be a woman? Like, those are, I'm gonna say it real, those are 2 knocks in business.
Yeah, because you deal with sexism, obviously, and you deal with racism. I'll never forget, I graduated from Howard University and I was, a dentist, and, I was eager to practice dentistry. I was really young, but I had just really loved what I did. And I went to buy a practice and I thought I did all the checks, right? I said, this is how much it's making a month, this is how much rent. I thought I did everything that you're supposed to do to purchase something, right? I didn't look at demographics, because what did that mean to me? I was licensed, I was smart, I had passed every single board. I never considered it. So I bought the practice from a young white male. And shortly after, I would receive phone calls asking, is the new Dr. Black. And, you know, my office manager at the time would say, yes, but, you know, she's this. And she would say all my accolades that I had. And I slowly were just losing patience. People were calling, asking for their files and asking for their charts. And I just remember sitting down one day and just crying so hard because I felt like, damn, racism doesn't care about your degrees. They don't care about your status. They don't care about your skill. And that was a really, really hard experience for me, honestly.
When you think about it now and getting into the business and now being where you are, is a situation like that when you have graduated from Howard and you feel like you have some of these accomplishments. And I used to always tell my son this and my kids this. I said, you can't look at life like it's a piece of paper, right? On a piece of paper, when you list, I have this degree, I've gone through these things, I've gone through these games. If you handed people those pieces of paper and you didn't put color, you didn't put gender on them, they'd pick the person with the most check marks, right? And I think sometimes when we start to accomplish things and we reach a certain level of success, that's how we think life works. When you started to get those calls, did it almost feel like you were that little girl sleeping on the porch again? That you hadn't accomplished those things, that all the work and the journey you thought you had been through is something that didn't matter to the world?
Yeah.
And how did you deal with that once you got those calls? What was the next step for you in understanding this is how I make that practice successful?
What was the pivot? From buying your first, figuring out how to do it? What was your pivot there?
That's exactly what I felt, actually. I felt broken down. I felt poor in spirit, right? Really poor in spirit. But the thing about things like that happen to people in their life is that I think that from that moment, it was, you have to be excellent in everything you do, because excellence is the best deterrent to racism and sexism. Because I learned that, okay, forget it. I don't care what anyone thinks. I have to be the best at whatever it is I'm doing. If it's being a dentist, if it's being a mentor. So that drove me to really want to achieve, and it drove me to really just want to be at the top of my craft. And it made me to the point now where I'm like, you know, they say the best success is if somebody wants what you have, be so good at it, whatever you do, be so good at it that they have to come to you to get it. And that's where I'm at now. So now I can choose. I choose who to say yes or no to, because I have worked my ass off to be at the point where the level of what I'm providing is so great, and I have so much compassion. I care so much. I pour so much of who I am in my work that my skin color, the texture of my hair, where I was born, that doesn't matter. If you want what I have, you still have to come to me, whether you like it or not.
Does the 4% matter? 4% of the dentists in America are Black.
Only 4%.
Does that motivate you? Because you speak a lot about representation and empowerment. Does that make you feel or think anything different, I guess?
Yeah, of course. You know, I started a mentorship program because I always say, like, you can't be what you can't see. You got to be a reflection to people, right? So young kids see you guys as athletes and they aspire because they say, well, if you can do it, if Fred can do it, then so can I, right? So it's about being a reflection, right? It's about showing young brown and Black girls who maybe did not grow up in the best situation. It's showing them that, you know what, not only can you achieve this, but you can achieve it at an excellent level. And I just hope to impact, inspire, encourage, uplift, you know, whoever along the way who can see my path or my journey and say, well, you know, if she did it, so can I.
You talk about mentorship, which I think is large, and it's kind of, you know, I think you could do it in many different ways. Obviously, we all do it in the personal fashion, right, the in-person fashion, but we also have a platform like this where we get a chance to do it. It's part of you speaking and getting opportunities, and in getting opportunities to do this, what are the messages you try to convey? When they see us, I don't want them to see the fact that I played football, right? I just want them to see success. I want them to see achievement. It may not necessarily be that little girl that looks up to you wants to be a dentist or even can be a dentist. So what are some of the messages you try to convey from the way you started to now where you are?
Yeah, well, it's so much bigger than, like you said, it's not about dentistry, right? It's about knowing your worth. It's about knowing that all those things that growing up, you know, we were raised to feel that made us so different. You know, I was one of few Black girls in my class. I was one of the Black girls where it was like, ooh, Amira's hot for a Black girl. You know, all those comments that a lot of young Black girls have experienced their whole life. Or, oh, you speak so proper. Like, what does that mean? You know what I mean? Why, like, would you say that to my white friend? So all of those traits, what I'm hoping girls can understand, young brown and Black girls, is that all of those things that make us different actually end up really making us a commodity. It's what makes you stand out. It's what makes you rare. I tell my daughter all the time, every day she goes on her way to school, she walks out the door, I say, what are you? And she says, I'm multifaceted, I'm beautiful, I'm strong, I'm intelligent, because I want her to understand that that's where it starts. The root of who we are and what we can achieve really starts with what we really believe in ourselves. Because if I don't believe it about me, how can you?
And that thought, though, Amira, with Fred, like I said, 4% is a small number. Why are you the premier dentist in South Florida? Why? And it's not even like, I know your husband, you know, saying we'll get into that in a second. Like, I know those circles we run in, but even past that, when we talk about dentists, your name always comes up. Like, why did you come from Howard in DC? You're in South Florida, and when you talk about dentists of South Florida, your name always comes up. What separated you from the other millions of dentists or 100,000s of dentists or whatever it is that are down here?
What's crazy is they don't say she's the wife of an ex-football player when they say that. It's always Dr. A, the dentist.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, and
So-
do it, Wale. My wife knew Amira. I didn't
Because
even
a lot
know.
of-
Like, I had to put the last
no
names
matter
together.
what,
Like, okay.
A lot of times, you know, especially where we come from, you hear that's Ryan's wife, or you know, whatever it might be.
You know what?
You
Mine-
have your own lane
Fred,
and your own identity.
Minus your last name, what separates you? Because if you weren't exceptional, your last name wouldn't mean nothing.
Channing, I told y'all I was trying to see if Wale Falorin was married. I told y'all that.
He was Googling his ass.
When we said Wale, he thought it was the rapper.
And I was like, dude, they ain't married, bro.
He kept saying
It's like-
Wale's not married. And I was like, no, Wale is my dude. He is married to Amira.
I was like, no, he's not, bro. He just put the album out. He's still in these streets.
Okay, so-
but minus the last, like, what made you excel at what you do?
To answer Fred's thing about being known for being me, and this is so important, because when you are married to an NFL player, an NBA player, an entertainer, it is so easy to get caught up in the shadow of who they are, right? And build your worth, your sense of self on that, right? We see it all the time. Like Fred just said, I met someone and I went to shake her hand, and I'm not gonna say who, but she said, I'm so-and-so's wife. So I said, okay, what's your name? It's so easy as women to get lost in ourselves as a mother, as a wife, and then you put in the athlete and the celebrity and the lights. But I've always said, you have to be so secure and so confident in who you are and have your own purpose that if someone leaves, they don't take you with them. And that is big, because so often I think my husband has great accolades. I'm proud of him, you know, Pro Bowl, he's been to a Super Bowl, he played in the league how many years, but I've never led with that because I felt like I had a bigger purpose and I wanted to be known for my purpose, not his, or I didn't want, you know, I wanted us to be strong together, but I'm still me, you know, I'm still Amira. I'm not Wale's wife. When someone meets me, hey, you're Wale's wife. Hi, I'm Amira, nice to meet you. It's something I commonly do for that purpose. Your question about excellence and being
Separating yourself. Yes.
So if you are not known for your work ethic, I don't believe you're really working. And one thing everyone who's close to me can say is, I work. Nothing was given to me. I didn't have any favors. When I first started, I was the first one in my office, the last one to leave. I worked on my brand, I worked on my craft. And so now, even when people talk about Wale, a lot of the relationships I've built and stuff, you know, are because of of the work, you know, and you guys can relate to that. It's about the work. You could be the son of whatever legendary running back, but if you're not doing the work, if you're not good, then oh well, you're forgotten, you know? You got to be excellent or you're going to be forgotten. It's that simple. So I think when I consider what separates me is that my ambition far exceeded my talent. That's for one. And my work ethic, it's something I don't compromise ever.
So is it because of where you started?
Yes.
Because you talk a lot about access. And you talk a lot about culture and what we lack in our communities, in the underprivileged communities. And I believe that's something that drives you. Am I right?
It's absolutely right because, when, like I said before, when you know what it's like to be down here, you know what it feels like, you work harder, you go harder. And then when you make it, we talk about success. Success isn't money, right? Success isn't the cars we drive. Success isn't the titles or the status. Success is, what is your legacy? Who are you impacting? What are you leaving behind inside of people? When people hear your name, what do they know you for? Who did you encourage? Who did you uplift? Whose life did you change? And so, when I talk about access to care, when I talk about helping communities, it's because when I'm long and gone, I don't want to be remembered for doing the best veneers in the world. I want to be remembered for impacting my people.
When you say my people, obviously, those of us who have sense understand Egyptian is African, right? We know that. Now, I'm from New Orleans, which is huge on colorism because I'm from a place where they call it passe blanc, right? People want it to be white or lighter skinned because if you were lighter skinned, you got to do different things. There was a certain level
Creole girls.
Creole girls, right?
They got that blonde, thick hair,
Green
and
eyes.
colorful eyes.
They have green eyes, light skin.
I crashed a car one time leaving, what's that called? Dragos?
Yep.
Dracos? With the
Dragos.
oysters. So we did the oyster thing. We eating oysters and my
You and a girl?
Yeah, me and a girl. I went down there to train. When I was coming out of UF, went down there to train, and I held Jason Campbell, the quarterback from Auburn, because he had an Armada and had an Explorer, and I wanted a bigger truck because she was bad. And so we left Dragos, and I was showing out, but the roads were wet. So I went to yoke around the corner showing out, and I ran up and hit the pole. Boom, 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 throw the whole bumper off. And she was like a professional woman, and she was all scared, and I rolled up, thumping, and dropped off at her apartment, and I tried to get a kiss. I found out that a girl won't give you a good night kiss if you just crashed before you dropped her off. So those Creole girls will make you go crazy. So I'm sorry.
No, that's perfect segue, kind of, sort of. But my point was, what do you do so everyone understands who you are in totality? Because you are a woman, obviously in this business, but you're a black woman, and you've said that time and time again. I can be honest, I know, but I don't feel like every room you walk into, everybody goes, that's Dr. A, the black doctor, without you having told your story. So what is it that you set out every day in the way that you do your work, but also in the way that you present yourself so they know who you are, they know your foundation, they know your basis, and they know who you're trying to affect?
It's something I've actually struggled with my whole life and career, because like you said, for some people, Egypt is Middle Eastern. What people don't realize is you can be Egyptian and be black. You could be Egyptian and be white. You could be from France and be black and be France and be white. But because I've always been, racially ambiguous, I could pass as other, I felt like I had an obligation and a duty to make sure I was very conscious and intentional about the words I use. When I say black woman, I say it because I could easily just say Egyptian, but I want to make it known because at the end of the day, and I've said this so many times, when the white man with the sheets come, we know who we're talking about, the KKK. It doesn't matter if I'm Egyptian, if my skin is brown, light skin, whatever, we're all on the same side. So it's important for me to go hard for the culture and go hard for black women because I know I actually get a little bit of a different treatment because someone might, especially me, think I'm Hispanic. Whereas my colleague who has dark brown skin and is a black woman, she's not gonna get that same treatment. So it's almost my way of announcing it. my husband always said, my husband is dark skinned, you know, he's from Nigeria. And he's like, you know, my wife is blacker than me. It's a joke we make because I wear it with pride because I know how much people are taken aback. I know the racism I've felt when someone is like, oh, well, you're black. Oh, you look so exotic. It's like, what does that mean? You know, or like I said, you're hot for a black girl.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to say, like, what you're saying made me think about my wife, your friend, my wife. We made it clear. Is there progression? Like, you've been down here so long, you've been doing it, like you're an activist, black woman, and that empowerment. It is, because the whole world's changing right now, Amira. Mm-hmm. Everything's changing, the progression, the LGBTQ+, like people are coming around to it. Do you feel as if now that respect you didn't feel maybe 10, 15 years ago, is it figuring itself out? Is the world figuring that out?
So I think it has in many aspects. You know, I recently partnered with a company called Smile Direct Club. And I don't know if you know them, but they're a really big company. They're the aligners, kind of like an Invisalign. And this $1 billion company could have partnered with any dentist that they wanted to. But they chose to specifically partner with a black woman, an HBCU grad, to provide access to care to underserved communities, to provide scholarships to black students, dental students. And that's a step in the right direction, you know? And I think that the more people who have a platform, big or small, or a voice, you know, if we're using it and we're trying to make change, you know, I always say we got to change this ratio, this 4%, you know, we have to do a better job. And for those of us who have been given even a small seat at the table, we got to pull other people up with us, you know, we got to make it so it isn't the norm to experience what we're experiencing or have over the years.
Channing said he hadn't been to the dentist in 6 years. I know you don't reckon. I know you don't.
I don't fool with dentists.
I understand that.
All they do is give you pain.
I want to use Channing as an example because a lot of times in our community where we lack access, which is what you teaming up with Smile Direct is gonna push forward, it's bigger than not just having the perfect teeth from a cosmetic standpoint. I want to dig into the health part of it. You know, for people like Channing that sit at home and don't realize it's affecting other parts of their life and not just their dental health.
Mm-hmm.
Why you keep bringing my name up?
Because you said you sat home for 6 years. You know, if you come down with gout or fat ass toe
I ain't
or
getting
some
no
shit,
gout off no goddamn rotten tooth,
let the
Fred.
I don't know, the doctor
Can I
gonna
get
say
gout off of a rotten tooth? This talking about gout, dog.
Maybe it's not gout. It's something else.
No, but you could die.
I'm gonna die.
Let me tell you guys something about access to care. I started doing a yearly smile event for kids, and it was free cleanings and screenings. And what motivated me is there was a child in Washington, D.C. You can look up his story, 8 years old. And he had just a cavity, and his mother could not afford to do the filling. And then it grew bigger into an abscess and an infection. And she still couldn't afford to do the root canal. And this infection spread to the little boy's brain, and he died.
Damn, doc.
You didn't know that, Chad?
I'm telling you, access to care. So imagine now if we provide access to care for communities like that, it could have saved his life. So for us, I mean, we're doing such a small part, but we're screening these kids. If we see anything that looks like that and their family can't afford to have it done, we're gonna do it for free because we don't want something like that to happen. So yes, it can turn into something, death. Dental disease is linked to heart disease, to diabetes. You know, the average person doesn't know. They think, oh, you know, I got a bad tooth, it'll just come out, but no.
Doc,
No,
do
you're
I
not
have
gonna
do I
die.
have any deadly teeth in my mouth?
No, you're not gonna die.
Oh, okay. But do I have any deadly teeth in my
No,
mouth?
you do not. You do not.
Dr. A, if you could look back to your younger self, to some of those stories you told us about your family, the shopping at Goodwill, the sleeping on the porch. If you could look back to your younger self and give her something to stay strong, tell her something to make her keep fighting and say, you know what, one day this is what you could be. Because when you're talking to your younger self, you're talking to millions of not only black women across the world. What would that story, what would that speech, what would those words of wisdom be?
God will take you from waiting on it to walking in it. It is so important for anyone who is struggling, and whether that be, the struggles that I was going through, whether that be a relationship, whatever it is, it's like, I would tell my younger self, you're so much stronger than you know. And keep praying and keep working and keep faith. Faith is so important. I would tell her, know your value. Something wanting you, it feeds the ego. But when something values you, that's what feeds your soul. We can edit our photos all day, right? We can't edit our soul. Make sure your energy's right, pray. People always say you work so hard, yes, I work hard, but I pray harder. I do, I really, I do. And I would be nothing without that. And I would tell young girls who are experiencing these things to just have faith. Look at other people who've done it. If they can do it, so can you. Pray, work hard, keep focused. Don't listen to the naysayers. How many people told me I wouldn't be at this level? Don't believe it. It's not true. I wish I had more confidence as a little girl. That's
Doc,
what I would tell her.
I want to take a moment and close this thing out. That's usually RC's job.
Take it, Freddie.
But I really want to know if Channing is a real charity case. And then we can shut it down after that. I just want to know.
I just Doc, like I've been getting hell about my teeth. Listen, let me just tell you.
Can we put it on camera?
They've called me raccoon teeth. They've called me all kind of prison mouth. They've called me jangalang, can't get right mouth. Like I got all the jokes. I actually throw the jokes back on myself.
When he says they, that's not us too. That's just throughout his life.
It's gonna be a testament to your work.
But this is all I'm gonna say. Let the haters talk and watch what's gonna happen in a couple weeks. That's all I'm gonna say.
That's what's all gonna happen. And one more thing. What's that Skrilla that I can beat up in the back? What is it called? I just need the name. Is it Skrilla
The
veins?
soft palate?
The Skrilla veins.
What?
You said something about scrotum veins?
No. I didn't say anything about the scrotum or scrotum. And I don't know what you're thinking right now. All I talked about was the soft palate. That's it.
You're embarrassing. You're embarrassing to our guests, man.
Here's what I know. I just want to say this. It doesn't matter who you're married to. You stand alone. What you've accomplished doesn't need a spouse. It doesn't need someone to walk side by side with. I'm sure it's better to have that. But if you had to walk into space by yourself, it'd be you and God, and you'd be okay. And so we're so grateful that you joined our show and you gave us an opportunity to have a different conversation.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
Awesome.
That's why you're the closer, baby.
I'll see you in a little bit.
Sorry.
Walk around, Asia. Don't smile yet. And hold it up.
Wow, yay. It looks so good.
Don't get brand new as your wife.
Don't be in these streets.
Me and her have a deal. If you act up, I'm going to pretend like we're doing a follow-up and I'm breaking all of them.
It's wild.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
We wouldn't do it with anybody else.
So now we're going to see what Fred and Ryan have to say now.
Yeah, they gonna talk shit.
Well, thank you for doing this. I know he wouldn't have done it if I didn't want it. So he's
Thank your wife.
Yes.
Heck of a
Thank
gift.
you so much.
Y'all so cute.
Girl, you did that. Yes.
Well, any issues you have, call me, and then I will see you next week for coffee. You look great.
Thank
you.
you.
Look so good. I was like, you look so good. You look good,
Thank you
man.
so
Thank
much.
you, Doc.
Yeah.
That's the best money I've ever spent.
If you like it, I love it.
Thank you.
Dr. A is awesome. We knew she was great. We seen her work, but now being a part of it, having them put in and having her dental genius a part of our life, Dr. A, we just appreciate it, and we love you, love your family, and we're just happy we could utilize your services.
Yes, absolutely. And I've been stalking her page for a long time because I knew I was plotting on Channing to get his teeth done. And just seeing all her work and seeing how she interacts with her clients, and as big of a guy he is, needing all the pain meds that he needs, make sure he's comfortable. She listened to us and made it happen, and his smile looks amazing. And I'm so happy. I'm so excited for his growth and his new smile.
Hold up, limitless. Niggas to me, can't pinning it. I fought the head to witness it. Got my people feeling militant. Way I'm feeling, get me up. On the mission, get me up. Knowing me, I got the key. Only vision I can trust. Trust, limitless. Niggas to me, can't pinning it. I fought the head to witness it. Got my people feeling militant. Way I'm feeling, get me up.